You're welcome.
Th- Thank you very much, George. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. So first of all, George, I want to thank you very much for the work you are doing, and also for having me. Now, what you're doing is extremely important, and because, like you and I discussed the morning, many of us went through school and we were never really taught the most important thing in school, which is how to make a living. And so people come out, and it's not uncommon for graduates to stay 10, 13 years at home waiting for someone to employ them because they don't know how to make a living. And so we're going to be talking about financial fitness today. And like George has shared, I would like you to be very attentive and to make notes. And I would also like it to be as practical as possible. At some point in the presentation tonight, I'll be inviting your questions, more or less like getting to know a little bit more where you are in your financial fitness journey and how I might make this night very useful for you, very actionable, very practical. Because when it comes to the journey to becoming financially independent in this part of the world, it's not information that ultimately we do it, it's actually implementation. And so, like I teach my clients, what I would like you to do is a question I would like you to write down at the corner of your note before we start. And this question is, how can I make this actionable? I'm going to say lots of things tonight. Many of them will come to you as an aha moment. They will come to you as a very, very special insight. And we know because it's going to hit you at a very, very deep level. I'm going to say something and then it will hit you at a deep level. So the question you should ask at the corner of your mind is, how can I make this actionable? It's because a lot of people attend events like this, or they go to physical meetings, and as the speaker is sharing, you will hear people groaning, like emotionally. They say, they'll say something, they'll say, and then they, I'm sure you've attended meetings like that, so something comes, that's really very significant, and they say, but give them 2 hours after they leave that meeting, and it's totally gone, and it doesn't help them. And then all they will say, that meeting, that webinar, that meeting was powerful. Okay, so what happened? I don't remember, but it was really powerful. And so one way to keep that from happening to you is that very powerful coaching question. How can I make this actionable? Okay, so I would go ahead and share. George, am I able to do that? Am I able to share?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, so this is the window. Can you all see my screen? Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, can see the screen.
All right. So we're talking about financial fitness. Now, let me tell you how I started thinking about financial fitness, and then later I could tell a little bit more about myself to just give context to what you are to the conversation we are having tonight. And then I will also get to ask you questions to just get to have a feel of the amazing people who are in the class tonight. In 2012, MTN ran a business plan competition that was nationwide. It was very, very widely publicized. And I was one of the business plan judges. So we were 6, 7 people. And our work involved receiving and sifting through the thousands of business plans that people submitted from around the country. And then the country was divided into 3 zones. So we had to move to those 3 zones. One was the Southwest, and that was Lagos. So everyone that was from Southwest, who submitted a business plan had to come to Lagos. The other one was in Port Harcourt, that covered the Southeast and then South. And then the other one was to be in Abuja, that covered all the northern states. So we finished Lagos presentations. There were people who came from different places, to compete for the money. And so they would pitch their business plans to us in the panel, and then we'll get something very similar to what you see in the Den or Shark. I think it's Shark Tank, they call them in America. And then we recently had a Nigerian version. So, and then from there we'll select businesses that we thought would, compete for the business plan money. Now, we were to go to Port Harcourt, or we went to Port Harcourt after Lagos. The day that we were to hold a Port Harcourt business plan presentation was actually my son's visiting day at Loyola Jesuit, where he was schooling at the time. Now, for some of you who may have been familiar with the Loyola Jesuit College in Abuja, they were, and I believe they are still very, very strict when it came to visiting days. They usually had 2 visiting days because the picnic ground could only take a certain number of people. So they divided the classes. I think the A and C classes came on a particular Sunday, and then the B and D classes came the following Sunday. My son was in A class, and the visiting day coincided with the very day that we were holding the business plan competition in Port Harcourt. So I wrote Loyola and said, I'm sorry, I'm not able to come because I was going to be in Abuja the following Sunday, which was for the classes C and D. Now, I wrote to the president, please, I will not be able to come this Sunday. I'm seeking your permission to come visit my son the following Sunday. I never got any response from them. So the following Sunday, we went to Abuja to listen to the pitches for businesses from the northern region. And we rounded off on a Sunday, which was 2nd of June. That 2nd of June was a visiting day. Now, there was another
You are muted.
I'm quite sure it's the camera network.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you are back.
Thank you.
Okay, I have to apologize because you know what's been going on in most of Africa, internet-wise. So this might happen a little bit. So apologies. I'm not even sure where I left off and where you stopped hearing me. Is my screen still being shared, or it's been?
You may need to share your screen.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Have you lost me again?
We can see your screen. Well, we can see you. We can see your screen.
Okay. You must grant permissions in order to share your screen. Select Safari settings for this website to update permissions. Oh my goodness, but you saw it before. Anyway, let me finish this. And so, long story cut short, I decided, okay, let me go to Loyola that day with Wale and see my son. That the highest the school would do was to tell me I couldn't enter the school at the gate. So I went. And unfortunately, they allowed me to go see my son. After that, about 4 p.m., we boarded a taxi to go to the airport to start coming back. Meanwhile, in the morning, after we finished, we told our colleagues, other business, so 2 of us, and then we had the other 5 plus some other people, the admin people, camera people, and things like that. So maybe a total of 8 people, crew. And then we said to them, all right, good, but we shook their hands in the morning. We said, see you in Lagos. So as Wale and I left Loyola and we're heading to the airport, all of a sudden, Wale got a phone call and it was from his wife. And we didn't know what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on, but Wale just lost it and burst out wailing, just wail, like screaming. It was so sudden, I was startled. So I was like, Wale, what's going on? Wale, what's going on? Wale, what's going on? He could not talk for a long time. He was just wailing. I said, talk to me. What's the matter? What did you know? And he said, oh boy, Dana crashed. Dana crashed. Our colleagues, everybody's gone and all that. So that was how we lost all these brilliant business-minded Nigerians in that crash. And that was how I escaped that money first, because what we said in the morning, we had told the organizers, so please move our names, Wale and myself, from that flight to the flight that was going to go in the evening, which was the same Dana. It was the same Dana flight that was supposed to go to Lagos, come back, and then pick us. And it was tragic and it was horrible on many fronts. It was horrible. Those people should never have died, but it was really tragic. And so, as I eventually went back to Lagos, that incident shook me. That was about the second time that I escaped a plane crash. That incident shook me tremendously, because the question I was asking myself was, suppose I had died in that flight, in what condition would I have left my wife and children? Because this was at the thick of all my financial troubles. I had left Shell on a package, and I had done a very, as I look at it now, I call it stupid investment, but then it looked really very credible. I lost $100,000 in family savings between Nospetco and Wealth Zone. At the same time, my investment in the stock market, because that was 2008 when we had that problem, global economic meltdown. So I lost those investments. It became very difficult to pay bills, became very difficult to pay the children's school fees, became difficult to pay house rent. Things were terrible. Okay. And that was the situation that I would have died in that plane crash. And so that journey started very strongly for me. I said, okay, no, I do not want to. I don't wish it on any man. I don't wish it on myself. For anybody to die and leave his family in a financial mess, because that would be like starting all over again. And that is the reason many families are in 3rd and 4th generation poverty, because the generation before this one did not give some critical attention to creating generational wealth, not just becoming rich, because being rich and being wealthy are 2 completely different things, as we're going to see tonight. So that was how the financial fitness journey began for me. And I'm going to take you through a very practical process to go through that. And then after that, so I will endeavor to speak maybe for another 30, 40 minutes, and then we can spend the rest of the time to hear your questions and then whatever else you may have. So let me attempt to share my screen again. Allow to share window. Okay. Choose content to share. This one. All right. Can you see my window now? Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So this was how it started for me. If I had died in that crash, under what condition would I have left my wife and 3 young children at the time? I shuddered to think about that. I shuddered to think about my wife being driven out to the streets by the landlord because, we couldn't pay rent. I shuddered to think about my children not having the kind of education that I wanted to give them as their father because I was dead. Okay, so who am I? I started my career with Shell, the SPDC in Port Harcourt, as remote sensing surveyor, and my work bordered around using satellite imageries to support Shell's exploration and production activities in the Niger Delta. From there, Chevron came and then made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. It was almost 3 times what Shell was paying me at the time. So I didn't pray too much. I left Shell and went to Chevron. After 6 years in Chevron, Shell came back and again made an offer I couldn't refuse. So I went back to Shell as the GIS specialist. 2008, I quit Shell to start consulting, certified as executive coach and MBTI in the United States. A couple of years later, I had the fantastic fortune to work with Stanford University as Stanford Seed Business Advisor. And in that role, Stanford Graduate School of Business, started the Stanford Seed Initiative in Africa, in Southeast Asia, massive vision to end the cycle of global poverty. And so Stanford basically took its incredible knowledge capital in building businesses, because Stanford is directly responsible for Silicon Valley and all the amazing things going on there. So they took that wisdom to come to Africa, to Asia. And as business advisor for Stanford, I was helping the businesses involved in the program, taking Stanford Graduate School of Business curriculum and helping the companies to translate it, to make it practical, to customize it to a situation in West Africa here. My personal interest is to raise unicorns to lead the transformation in Africa. I'm old enough to know that if politicians could change this continent, they would have done it. But I think that business people will do it much better. So after leaving Shell, because of the way things turned out, the losses, the debts, I struggled really, really bitterly for 7 years before things started turning around. And I developed a system I'm going to be sharing with you today. All right, so what I would like to pause now. This is a good feedback, so it's not just going to be a monologue. And I would like you to type in the chat or however it works here. I'm not familiar with Google Meet. I'm sort of use Zoom, but I suspect it's basically the same thing. Can you type what questions you would want answered today in my time with you? What is on your mind? What's on your heart? What are your expectations? Because that's going to help me very much in tailoring what I'm sharing with you. So I want to go to the chat, or George, if you want to help me to read out. Are people
Yes,
able to?
the chat is open, and once they type in, we should be able to see whatever they are typing. So the chat is open. Please put in there. The question is, what are your financial questions? I don't know if I got that right.
Yeah. What are your expectations? What would you like to walk out of this meeting with today? What specific things? So I want to give us 2-3 minutes, because it's actually very important for me, and I think it also helps you to set your intention, so that this is not just another meeting. So what specific things would you like to walk out of this meeting with? What would you like to learn? What tough questions do you have? All right, so I'm looking at the chat. Okay. Is it better to invest in the UK or in Nigeria? Okay. Very good. Or if you would prefer to unmute and speak, this actually gives me an idea about who is in the room and whom I'm dealing with, and then what kind of level that I could be sharing with. So it's really very valuable. Okay, what asset should I start building first? Okay, very good. German. All right, so I hang on for another minute. Okay, so I would assume that the flow so far, okay, is okay. So would you like me to just continue to flow like we've started? Okay, Eno says, I would like to know how I can make money by working remotely. Okay, yeah, this is giving me some idea about how to tailor what I want to share. So that's good. How do I invest in stock? Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go on then, and then based on the
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Just want to ask a question, as I based in the UK, and if you don't have enough money to invest, either in the UK or in Nigeria, because I'm from Nigeria, so and I have the intention to invest in Nigeria, what type of business would you advise me to go into?
Okay.
Because,
all right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so we are just gathering some ideas about the sort of questions that you want to ask. Yeah, we'll come to those specifics at the end of it. Okay. All right. So, okay. So thanks for letting me know that. Let's. I believe you can still see my screen. Okay. So, so what we cover tonight, in line with the questions that you've asked, what's financial fitness and what are the steps to becoming financially fit, and then we take some time for question and answers. Okay, but the first thing that I actually want to draw your attention to set up a very important context is the concept of fitnesses. So there are 3 kinds of fitness that everyone in this call should make a note of and try to strategize around. Whatever you are doing, whether you are a professional, a dentist, medical doctor, lawyer, accountant, or you are an employee, you're working for an organization, or you are a business owner, or whether you are a mother, or a father, a parent, whether you're a single parent or whatever, this is what you want to organize the rest of your future around. So the first is spiritual fitness. And when I talk about spiritual fitness, I'm not talking about religion, because I know that Africa is very religious, and literally everybody in Nigeria, where some of you came from, is religious. But spirituality is actually very different, from religion. How? Because one ancient writer, in answering that question, he said that the religious people, he said, these people worship me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. So religion is mostly something of the lips, but spirituality is of the heart. This is why you see somebody can actually walk out of a religious meeting and then start fighting in the car park. This is why somebody can actually be a religious leader, but he beats his wife, the quarrel. And this is why somebody can actually be a very religious person, but the person has problems with infidelity and doesn't see anything wrong with it. But spirituality is actually more authentic. It's from the heart. It deals with character, which is who you are when no one is looking. Spirituality also deals with purpose, a sense of purpose. You are here on purpose. And then because you are here on purpose, again, spirituality deals with identity. So because you know your identity, and then you are here on purpose, you cannot behave anyhow. You cannot dabble into drugs because you know your identity. You are not the kind of person that will dabble into drugs, and because you also know that it's going to compromise your purpose. Spirituality also deals with the fact that we exist we are multidimensional, that life is not just what you see physically with your eyes. There's a lot more in the unseen world than in what you see. And so spiritual fitness helps you to connect to God, helps you to connect to that unseen realm with practices like meditation, like study, like solitude, like practicing stillness, retreats, and things like that. So spiritual fitness, like practicing peace with your fellow men, being a person of love, being a good example and a role model to other people. Spiritual fitness also deals with conscience. Spiritual fitness will never allow you to make money by hurting other people. Spiritual fitness will never, that's why they go hand in hand with all the other types of fitness. Spiritual fitness will never allow you to fake a product or to make false advertisement on social media. Spiritual fitness must allow you to do what many Nigerians are doing. Because at some point, it was recorded that over 80% of the goods in Nigeria were faked. Toothpaste, detergents, all kinds of things, food items. So that's why spiritual fitness is important. So you are the kind of person that lives a life of purpose and identity, peace and love, and conscience, pure conscience before men and before God. Now, you also need physical fitness. Because if you're spiritually fit and you're not physically fit, you're going to suffer. So you need to have energy. You need to be mobile because you need physical fitness to accomplish your purpose, which is your spiritual fitness. And then the one we are focusing on today, financial fitness, which is what a lot of us neglect. So you may have seen people who are very physically fit, they're quite athletic, they go to the gym, but they're not financially fit. They'll still beg you for transport money, to leave the gym. All right, so these are the physical 3 fitnesses, and then you need to memorize to teach them to your children, share it with your spouse, inculcate it in your goals and dreams and plans. Okay, now, financial fitness is having the ability to grow and protect your financial well-being, and then having the immunity to financial adversity. So when adversity comes, and should you have an emergency today, you're not going to be knocked out. But a lot of people are actually just one paycheck away from being homeless. All right, a lot of people are just one paycheck away from financial adversity. So spiritual fitness, make sure that you have that. And then it's got a formula which I have called DREAM. So the D is discipline your spending. It is impossible to become financially fit if your expenses consistently outweigh your income. And so discipline your spending. This is where a lot of people have challenges, because that iPhone 15, must you have it? Must you get iPhone 15? The iPhone 8 you're using still works. The 10 you're using still works, and you don't do much more with it, than make phone calls, do your charts, and take pictures and things like that. So do you really need to shell out $1,200 or $1,500 for the phone? Discipline your spending. The second one is raise your income. Find ways to raise your income to have additional streams of income. The E stands for eradicate debt, because debt is a very big burden and a very big obstacle to financial fitness. In fact, financial fitness and debt don't go together. So come out of debt, and it's okay to operate below your means. A stands for accumulate savings. And a lot of people say, oh, savings, if I put my money in the bank and all that. No, that's not necessarily what savings is talking about. Saving money is always the very first step to financial freedom. And saving does not necessarily mean putting your money in the bank and then receiving 0.2% interest in the year. And then with all the devaluation and all that, you're having issues. So the way I do my own savings is I have an investment account. And so if I have 5,000 naira that's lying around, I can put it there. And saving is what helps me to delay gratification. I remember 2 years ago, at some point, one evening, I just felt like having grilled fish. This fish that we're doing in Nigeria, catfish, the point and kill. I think that's what it's called, point and kill. So I was told that there was a place not far from where I am right now where I could do that. So, and then the cheapest was 7,000 naira. That was then. And so I could get some really big ones at 8,000 or 9,000 naira. So I already got ready to start driving there. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do I really need to eat? I wasn't hungry. It was just what Nigerians call long trips. And it's like, do I really need to go put this money now into that? So I came back. I just drove back. I said no. So I went and checked how much was GT Bank shares at that time. The GT share at that time was 18 naira. I said, listen, instead of buying this fish, why don't I put this 7,000 naira in GT, buy the stock, and then leave it? 1 year later, 2 years, 3 years later, that same 7,000 naira can buy me more grilled fish. And that's exactly what happened, because now GT is 40 something naira from 18. In fact, that same year, it went from 18 to 39 within a short space, like 6 months, something like that. See, this is how you save. So saving says, this fish I want to eat now, do I really want to? Because many times, this eating out or doing things just because our neighbors are doing it and all that, do I really, need to do that? Saving becomes a habit, because that's really what you're going. It's not the amount of money, it's actually getting that habit. Okay, so in this place I stay now, so my time is split between here and a couple of other places, So I have a diesel generator. 2 years ago, I bought a diesel generator, was 300 naira, 330 naira for 1 liter. Now, the last time I bought diesel, yesterday or day before, because we have serious electricity problem here, it was almost 1,600 naira for a liter of diesel. Then, so when there is electricity, like this electricity, the state electricity, I charge my laptop, so I bought a good laptop, which can hold for several hours. So the other day, electricity, we had electricity cut as usual. I think it was through, in the afternoon. And then I needed to charge my laptop. And I'm like, is it worth it to turn on a big generator? What I wanted to do with my laptop, was it worthy enough? Was it equally? Is it something that could give me more than 1,600 naira per liter of the time that I would, just to charge? So instead, I decided to go somewhere where I had access, to an office, office of a relation, and then I worked there. So this is how savings habits work. We're not just saying take that money and put it in the bank where the value will continue to go down, but you must develop that habit of saving if you are going to be financially free. And then, of course, is have an emergency fund. Most of you stay in the UK. You know that down here, in most of Africa, we don't have social security like they do in the United States. I don't know if there's social security in the UK. The only social security you have here is number one, yourself, because all the neighbors and everybody around you here is dealing with their own problems. So if anything happens, really demands that you raise 500,000 or 1 million naira in the next 1 hour or something, or somebody dies. Each of your neighbors, they're having their own issues. So it's important to have maintain an emergency fund of something that can at least fund your family for 6 months to 12 months before. So this is the financial fitness formula. There is none of it that none of us can, there's none of it here that any of us can't do. It's within reach. I saw this quote yesterday, and I thought it was very funny, but also powerful. So people give excuses. I am from a poor background. So this guy says, I am from a poor background, ends at 30. After that, you are the background. In other words, what I'm saying is no excuses for anybody on this call to becoming financially fit. Okay, so there are 4 P's too of financial fitness or of business growth. The first one is that you've got to identify a purpose. Why are you alive? Because trying to make money without a definite purpose is the formula for hustling forever. And you don't want to hustle forever. People at 60 something are still hustling. People in their 70s are still hustling because there was no purpose. So you've got to understand, what's your vision? Why are you here? What are your values? What's your mission? What's the impact you're here to create in the world? What is something bigger than you that you're living for? Because some of my clients, I ask them the most important thing is to define why you are in business. Because if you're in business because you just want to be able to, pay your children's school fees until they come out of school. Now, what happens after they leave school? The motivation for the business dies. So you've got to have a purpose that is bigger than just you. All right. Then purpose is not enough. You need a plan. All right. So how are you going to get there? Maybe part of your vision includes that you want to leave real estate worth 1 billion naira or whatever makes sense, in the UK, or worth 2 billion, I think Prince, was it Prince George or somebody was born a couple of years ago with $1 billion in inheritance in the UK. And so your goal might be that you don't want your children to start from behind where you started. You want to give them some leverage. All right. So plan is saying, what is the plan? What's the strategy? How are you going to go from where you are now to that place? Then process says, all right, you have a plan. What's the process? You want to buy 1,000 hectares of plantation down here in Nigeria, say palm plantation, which is like the in thing right now. People are crazy with palm plantation. A couple of months ago, the guy who used to supply, because I'm also doing it, the guy who used to supply us with seedlings, there were no seedlings there because people were bringing in their big trucks and then buying 5,000 seedlings, buying 2,000 seedlings and things like that. So what's the process? And then there is patience. I found that all the times I lost money, I didn't practice the law of patience. Patience and wealth go hand in hand. Patience and wealth go hand in hand. It's a statement you want to write down. So these are the 4 P's of financial fitness. And so what are the 3 steps of financial fitness? The first one is that you've got to assess your financial health status. Because if you don't know where you are standing, it will be difficult for you to tell where you are going. Right? So what is your financial health status right now? What are your assets? What's your net worth? You've got to have that number, or at least have an idea about what it is, because it's usually a reality check. By the time you actually sit down to say, these are all the assets I have, and these are all the liabilities, and therefore your net worth is all those assets minus the liabilities. It gives you an idea about where you really stand, and you need that reality. When my first son was going to college, to the university, that was a reality slap for me, because many of you in Ogbo land, their society is structured, ours is not. Because when I was feeling the CSS profile, my part as the parents in the financial status, there were so many questions. Taxes, bills, utility bills, up to the point like, what do you spend on food every month? You should call 10 Nigerians or 100 Nigerians and ask them, how much do you spend on food every month? I guarantee you that 99 will not be able to practically, and I was like that for many years, practically give you an idea that every month we spend this on food, we spend this on electricity, we spend this on clothing. And I had to feel all those things. And then they did it. I discovered I really wasn't as rich as I thought I was. Just putting down, because they ask you, do you have landed property? Do you have whatever, your cars? What's the value of your cars and things like that? So if you filled CSS profile when you did college applications for the United States, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So you really need to know what your financial health status. Don't just think you know it and carry it. You need to know that number, because if you are trying to build a net worth of, say, $5 million in the next 20 years, you need to know where you are today. Because if you find out that your net worth is $30,000, which is possible, then it becomes very, very easy for you to know the extent of the journey between $30,000 and $10 million. But if you don't know your financial status now, you won't be able to adequately contextualize the amount of work and discipline that you need in the next 20 years to get to that place. The second step is to define your ideal lifestyle. And then finally, you follow a simple plan. All right. So you need to define the strength of your income, your financial status. The second part is actually to follow a system. Okay. My mentor turned 84. One of my mentors is one of my wealth mentor. He turned 84 about 3 weeks ago. We were taking a walk in the estate, one day, and then all of a sudden, he just told me, listen, Ogbo, no one can become rich except another person shows him or her. Very, very deep wisdom, very true. So you must follow a system. It's not today they say, oh, okay, Bitcoin, you join. Tomorrow they say NFTs, you join. The next day they say it's Forex. And you are all over the place. You cannot create wealth in that way. If you look at all the wealthy people that we read about today, whether it's Warren Buffett or it's Elon Musk or it's Jeff Bezos or it's Richard Branson in the UK over there or whatever, they had a system, or our own Dangote here or Jim Ovia, who told the story of how he started Zenith Bank with 20 million naira in 1995. Today, the bank is worth over $30 billion in asset from $5 million. There was a system, and they pursued one thing consistently. They mastered it before they went into other things. Like I know Jim does some bit of real estate. He also did telecommunications, but he started with banking, mastered it before. You see, but many of us are putting our hands in so many things. We're into real estate, we're into Bitcoins, we're into Forex, and you're spreading yourself so thin. So it's important to follow a system. Follow a system. Then, when you choose a vehicle, master that vehicle. When you master that vehicle, then you can add another income stream. But when you're pursuing 12 different income streams at the same time, there's going to be a challenge in the long term. And this is also why so many people have joined different kinds of network marketing systems. Network marketing, they tell them, they promise them financial freedom, promise them all kinds of things. And you find that those people who are doing the network marketing, they jump from one to the other, because they're one. At the end of it, it doesn't do that thing that was promised them. Then another one comes into town, and they jump into it, and they jump into it. And somebody says, oh, Forex. Oh, don't worry. You don't have to know the pips and things like that. There's going to be an expert trader. Artificial intelligence will be trading for you, and you'll be making your money. Who told you? Okay. You need someone to show you. So I created this system called Cash. This is the system that I am following through, and this is the system that I'm taking my private clients through, private wealth clients. Everything that we need and everything you need to know this evening is actually on the slide before you. So Cash stands for, the first C stands for capital formation. So this is the stage, because everything about your wealth journey starts with breaking the capital barrier. Because if you don't have capital, the whole thing, we live in a world, that's capitalist. You can't even move to the next one. Because a lot of people, capital is their biggest mountain to climb. And when you go around, you find people who say, I want to start a business, but I don't have capital. Or you see people who say, I want to do so and so, but I don't have capital. Or you see people who want to send their children to a particular kind of school to give them certain kinds of exposure, but they say we don't have capital. All right. So the first step to creating wealth, form capital. So this is why we're talking about saving. Somebody said, if you cannot save money, the seed of greatness is not in you. And it's very true, because everything starts with that saving before you start thinking about investing. All right. The A stands for asset creation. So I asked on Facebook the other day, I asked people, of all the things you've been buying since January, because don't tell me that money has not been coming to your hands. How many of the things you bought are asset producing, are bearing income, returning income to you like on a weekly or even monthly basis, versus how many of those things did you just buy to consume? And then there were crickets. Because you see, most people are not creating assets. Most people are just consuming, just buying things, buying nice clothes, buying good food, eating out, and all that. And you see, every income that comes into your hand, whether it is a gift or it is salary or wages, or it is income in your business, has two parts. The first part is seed, and the second part is bread. Because the prophet told us that God gives a seed to the sower and bread to the eater. But what do we do? What does a foolish person do? He works everything. And then one of the most surprising excuses that you hear all over the place: oh, my salary is not enough. It's not even enough for the end of the month, so I can't save. That is, if you stay on that excuse, you will never create asset. You will always be on the survival loop. Then the S stands for scaling up. So at the time that you have discovered the assets that produce, all right, when you've discovered some assets that really, really produce, then you scale it up, all right? You reinvest profits, you diversify, you expand your net worth. That is the next natural thing to do, because money is made to multiply. So your money are your little employees. And then if some of you who have read Robert Kiyosaki, he says the difference between the rich and the poor is that the poor people work for money, but the rich people make money work for them. So this is something you have to practicalize as you're scaling up. And of course, the next stage is building heritage. All right. This is where okay, you're in the final throes of your existence here. What happens after you have done? This is where people build trust, build estates. Because when you don't do it, what tends to happen is that people build their wealth all over their years. Now they're in their 80s, in their 70s, and they're about to go. And when they die, because they didn't do heritage building, part of heritage building is actually giving your children the position, the anchoring, the training, the motivation to be able to manage that wealth after you've gone. Otherwise, it happens every day here in Nigeria. A man dies, maybe it's a brother, the person didn't marry or something, and then all his wealth within months, the children or the uncles or whatever, they just mess everything up, and then that person's work is gone forever. So this is a system. It is not a get-rich-quick thing, but it's a system that if you follow it with patience, remember the 4 P's, with purpose, with the plan, with the process, and then with patience, it's guaranteed. And let me tell you another thing. Okay, my mentor said 25 years is enough time for anyone in any part of the world to become wealthy. We're not talking about riches. Riches, you're just talking about money. Lots of people have money, but they are not wealthy. And if you look at all the people who have built wealth, whether you're talking about Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and things like that, or the late Apple founder Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, all of them, go check their history. It took at least 30 years, 35 years. So don't be in a hurry. But if you want quick money, that's fine. And you want to be just rich and then enjoy yourself, travel around the world, eat good food and whatever, and then enjoy and go, that's okay. But if you really want to build wealth, the kind of Rockefeller wealth, the kind of JP Morgan wealth, the kind of Carnegie wealth, and then some families in Africa that we actually know, like the Odulates, the man who made this robe. I'm trying to remember the name that they use all over the place, and all that. In 1913 or 1914, he made that thing, Jacob Odulate or something. The family is still wealthy today. Or Bob Marley, who died, God knows how many years ago, perhaps over nearly 30 years ago or something. But his family is still collecting millions of dollars every year. Or like Chinua Achebe, who wrote Things Fall Apart when he was 26 years old in 1958. And then this is 2024. The family is still collecting royalties. That is how wealth is built. So how can you structure your heritage in such a way? It could be intellectual property or things like that. Einstein died since 1950s. But today, if you use his picture, you pay. You use his picture, you pay him, And then Stephen Covey of the 7 Habits died God knows how many years ago. His family is still making money from the system that he set up. So that is heritage building. All right, so I want to stop here and then take questions, but I want to let you know about the Financial Fitness Challenge that we are holding 7th to 11th of May. It's going to be 5 days of deep diving into all the issues around how you create capital, how do you invest, with exercises and then a community where you discuss these things and where you actually get ideas. And then it's going to be a challenge where you work out people who have been in it before and people who have interacted with financial fitness work. Some of them have testify that have built houses using the ideas that we have shared. One person within the week shared how he started a business in Abakaliki, packaging something, after going through this work with us. So I would encourage you to mark this particular challenge, to mark this date on the 7th to 11th. It is virtual. So typically in the morning, you have a series of videos that you will watch, very short videos. Then in the evening, we all come together and then we talk about the issues of the day. So you will see Williams, who works with me, is in the chat. So he's going to put the link to it and then how you can participate in the challenge on the chat. And so we can take note of that, and then with the permission, we can go into questions. You have specific questions, and then I'll be happy to give you some, share some ideas that I have. Okay, thank you very much. Has this been useful?
Very well. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We're grateful. I think we just go straight. We may likely want to start with some of the questions already placed in the chats.
Okay. All right. Okay, so is it better to invest in the UK or in Nigeria? No, the question is not about whether it's better. Investing is not geography. Investing actually has a lot to do with what are you trying to achieve? What is your goal in investing? The where it's not really the very first question. And again, so it actually depends on your objectives. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to achieve? Why are you investing? Because what I have found very helpful with investing is when it is tied to a purpose. So for instance, I might be investing now against my retirement. I might be investing against when I turn 70. I don't want to be a burden on my children, even though of course they are encouraged to honor their father and mother because blessing comes with it. But I don't want to be in a situation where I want to be a burden. I want to be financially strong, enough to even give to my grandchildren. So you see how I have defined that. Now, when I have defined that, I'm going to now ask, what vehicle will I use to achieve this? And then what comes to my mind straight away is stocks. Okay, the stock market is not going away anytime soon. It's been there for over 200 years or so. It's not going away anytime soon. People have been saying stock market will do whatever. Since the time of Warren Buffett, the man he started investing when he was like 8 years old. We're talking about 1950s. It is still there today. Nothing is going away. Did you know that the Nigerian stock market was on every single day during the Biafran Civil War? Did you know that? That's very, very interesting. That's something to think about. Because the stock market, just like its name implies, is the pulse of the economy. When you are investing in the stock market, you're actually investing in the country's economy, because that's really where all the productivity of the economic activities of the country are aggregated. And then the next question says something about, there's a question that says something about investing in the stock market, and this is what I do. And this is why I do not complain about hard times like other people. Not because I'm rich, not because you go into my bank account and then see some, a surprising amount of money. But what I did was I sat down and looked at all the things I use every day. I looked at the things I use, that all the things, the infrastructure that my life runs on. So I use telecommunications, data, and voice crazily every day. I buy data every single month, a lot of it. Now, the context is, you don't want to be a renter on earth. You want to be an owner. So you want to develop an ownership mindset, because the wealth mindset starts with developing owner's mindset. Not the owner's mindset is also the producer mindset. The renter's mindset is the consumption mindset. People who just consume, and they are not producing. That's poverty. But the wealthy people think in terms of producing. So I now said to myself, if I use telecommunications every time, I don't want to be a renter. I don't just want to be a user, a consumer. I want to own telecommunications. I want to own it, so that I'll be making money from telecommunications, not just using it. How best can you do that than buying the shares of the telecommunications company? So I'm investing in I'm very intentional in all the things I'm investing in. So I'm investing in telecommunications. And then so far, what I get in dividends from my investment in telecom companies in the Nigerian stock market pays for all my voice throughout the year. It pays for my phone, all my voice calls in the year. The dividend pays for it. So if data is going up, I do not complain, because if data is going up, the more you buy, the more I make money.
The more you make money.
And the more I use it myself, I use it with confidence. I don't complain if it goes up, because I'm also making money. So I'm using it. That money is coming back to me. That is how to think about the stock market. It's not just, how much is GT today? Okay, let's buy. It's down. No. And then the reason I also invested in the banks, especially the bank I use, is so all the people are complaining about bank charges. They're complaining about bank SMSs. They are complaining about all these, I do not. Why? Because I own the bank. So while you are there complaining and they are deducting all those things, at the end of the year, they give me, from the profit, because I'm a shareholder in the bank, I also make that. I eat every day, and that's why I invested in the food, in the stock market. Now, I'm building So I invested in a cement in the cement sector in the stock market. So when cement goes 12,000 naira, I do not complain because it is my business growing. And so when I stand and I tell people, if they like, let them sell cement 50,000. Do you know why I'm confident? Because as it's growing, I'm an owner and it's growing. That's the mindset for growing in stock market. So I don't do day trading. I invest for the long haul. Okay. So sometimes I've made incredible progress. I bought, for instance, Geregu Power because I use electricity. I also invested in electricity. So I invested in Geregu. And then when I bought it, it was about 400 and something naira. As at yesterday, is 1,000. And it's less than 1 year. No, what's the 1 year? It's less than 6 months. I'm not touching it because I'm still using electricity. But I decided, instead of complaining about the economy every time, let me own those assets. Okay, so I did the same thing so I just made a list of all the things I use and I invested in the sectors so that I'll become an owner, okay, and not just a user. Now, there is a book on how to invest in the Nigerian stock market. It shows you everything because I get the questions. So I just put it into an ebook that you can download tonight. So Williams, you can also put the charts to that thing. So it answers all the questions, including how you can stay anywhere in the world and buy stocks. In the Nigerian Stock Exchange before, if you want to buy a stock, you have to send a demand order to the stock broker. You have to write something physical and then send to them. But now, you can trade directly, you can trade online. With virtually every stock broker in Nigeria, who is who. You can trade. You don't have to. So you do everything online. You fund your investment account online, and then you also buy and sell online from the comfort of home anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet. So the book explains all that. The book also gives you all the stocks listed and then makes suggestions how you can start thinking of, like what I've shared with you, how you can start thinking about what to invest in. And then why I like it is it allows me to save very little amount of money because you can buy 1 naira stock, you can buy 5,000, you can buy 1,000 naira stocks. There have been times that I bought Nestle for two shares of Nestle, because what was there was like 3,000 something and Nestle was about 1,000 something. So it's flexible. So this thing is within reach of anybody who is not rich, to be honest with you, who is not on the path, is just laziness or lay excuse or maybe ignorance. You don't know, because with 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, you can start investing in the stock market and grow with patience. This last year made it my 20th year in the Nigerian stock market. I never regretted it. And then a lot of people, that's actually all the wealthy people are there. That's why I want to be there. You want to be where the wealthy people are. Last year, do you know how much Jim Ovia made on dividend from just one company? 15 billion naira, 15. It's not hidden. You can check it. It's actually online. One person, 15 billion. I think Tony Elumelu made something like 3 billion. Dividend. He hasn't touched his principal. All of them are there. Dangote, all their wealth, stock market. Even people in the United States you hear about, all those you hear Warren Buffett, so billion. His stock market. It is his what he owns in Coca-Cola, what he owns in McDonald's, what he owns. So rich people are buying ownership. And so now you will not be able to own the whole of MTN, but you can take a part of it and become an owner. They will send you their meeting details. They will send you everything. They will send you their annual reports. They'll send you everything because you're an owner. So that is one immediate action that I believe that some of you can can start with. Jamin was asking, what assets should I start building first?
Sorry, sir. Just to add to that before you go to the next question from Jermaine, to be very, very candid with you, on this very platform some time ago, I think was it last month, I actually mentioned to everybody that was here about Navida stock. And I showed them how much Navida stock was selling as at last 2 months or last month. No, last month I showed them. As at that time, Navida stock was selling for about 712. Do you know as at today, if all of you can go and check, Navida stock now is selling by about 994, about 94.2. Did you see that increment? Mm-hmm. And like I said, because Navida stock is producing the, should I say, the tools, so to say, that is being used now, which they use in making the artificial intelligence, which is AI, which is just what is coming newly, that is likely going to take a lot of jobs from people. Tell me, how will that go down? It's just starting. Very soon, I'm saying it here now, is 942 as at today. By next month, I will tell you it will be up to about 1,000 something. That's Navida stock. So please take advantage of the stock market. It's actually a place you can make a lot of money. But let's go straight to Jermaine. Let's see if we can touch all the questions one after the other. If we can be fast with it. What assets should I start building first?
So a lot of it depends on really where you are. Remember, the first step is to assess your financial situation. Is based on that, because it's difficult to just say start with this, because we don't know, because there are all kinds of things, but we don't know your situation. I don't know your investment objective. I don't know where you are financially, because there are many things. You can buy a house, you can do real estate, you can go into agro processing, you can start business. There are all kinds of things, but it actually depends on your specific situation. So the question you should be asking is, where am I financially? What are my financial objectives? Okay. And then what are the financial vehicles that I can ride to get to that place? That's the way you can think about it. But the immediate thing, I believe, that is within reach for anybody, Jamin, is investing in the stock market. And when investing in the stock market has risk, that book actually has a chapter on risk, and then thinking about risks, because you also want to be very educated on whatever you're investing in. There's actually a rule. I have a rule that you shouldn't invest on anything you don't understand. So even if you want to go to the stock market, the first thing is actually, maybe the first asset is actually knowledge. Build very deep knowledge about what you want to invest in. Because if you don't have, even in stocks, if you don't have the knowledge, that's actually why I wrote that book. You can lose your money. Somebody else who knows can buy that same Navida and become a millionaire. But somebody who doesn't know what's going on, who can't monitor it, because there are many things you look at. You look at the fundamentals of that company. There's a way you look at the company, because what you're investing in is in the company, not in the stock price. So that's why it's not stock price, because what a lot of people did in many years ago in Nigeria, they have 50,000 naira, then they see Awoke Tech, it's 1 naira, this will give me 50,000. What? So they do, and then they see Nestle is 3,000 something, this will just give me. And so you're investing in the company, not in the stock price. Yeah. So you need to understand what you are investing in. But the stock market is accessible. You start learning, and then learn about the risks. I highlighted all the risks, in the book, and how to manage and then mitigate them. Then you start small. you learn, you seek mentorship, because that's one way to grow really, really very fast. And for someone who's already doing it, they can provide guidance, and then you grow from there. And it says, I would like to know how I can make money by working remotely. So again, what you want to do is look for, because people are doing it. People are already doing it. What many people, young people, for instance, in Nigeria have done now is to sign up for the gig economy on Fiverr and Upwork. So there's so many Nigerians right now making money on Fiverr. How do I know? Because when I go to Fiverr to look for something to do, I ask the Fiverr to show me the people who are online and then to show me people who are from Nigeria. And there are so many. So that's one way. There are also many remote work sites. If you just type and Google them, there's so many of them, and then they will show you. I don't have them offhand, but if you just type and go to Google, you'll see so many remote work sites, and they tell you the conditions, they tell you how much it is, and things like that. And then LinkedIn also does quite some bit, of that. The majority of the work you find on LinkedIn right now are remote, so you can do that. But if you are a starter, you want to try, go to the gig economy on Fiverr, fiverr.com, fiverr.com, and then sign up and then grow from there. I hope that helps. How do I invest in stock? Okay, so we've taken care of that. And I think for many of you wanting to invest in stocks, please do download that ebook, and it will answer all the questions. Every single question that I've been asked about stock is put there. How to get investors to invest in your business. I would encourage you to be part of the Financial Fitness Challenge, because one of the things, one of the days is focused on raising capital. Then again, there is a recent webinar we had that also talks about raising capital, and then in that place we talked about the sell and buy model of raising capitals, and I shared how I raised 24.8 million naira after I lost everything, and then I started consulting, and it was through some work I did for multi-choice, and then how I got to multi-choice from nothing. So please find that, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. There's a whole lot of work on financial that answers some of these questions that you actually have here. That many of them are answered. Just subscribe, and then you look for the very last video is how to break your capital jinx. It's right there and it's free, so you can watch that. What kind of business can I invest in? Okay, so basically it's the same thing. So there are three things you want to consider when you want to start a business. But if you want to invest in another business, then you want to look at the stock market. We've talked about that, how to find out good companies and all that. Don't invest in stock price, invest in the company. So you find out who is managing, who are the people behind this business, in what sector. Like George said, is it a sunrise market or is it a sunset market? Because you don't want to invest in something. Somebody comes up today and says, I want to start manufacturing CDs, so I want to start manufacturing cassettes. That's a dead market. You don't really want to put your money. You don't want to put your money there. So, and then in terms of starting your own business, first of all, you look at your passion and your knowledge and your hobbies, what you really like. Second thing you look at is how are you wired? What things come to you naturally? Okay, if you look at someone like Michael Jordan, playing basketball was very natural to Michael Jordan, so much that he retired went into baseball for 2 years and he failed miserably. Then he came back from retirement to basketball and broke all his previous records because he's wired for it. So you want to look for a business that's got your passion and that's got your natural abilities and talents. And then the third loop in what kind of business should you invest in is it's got to be something, is there, who can you serve? All right. What kind of product or service will solve a problem for a particular group of customers who can pay you? Okay, who have two things. We call it the willingness to pay and also ability to pay. So if you find the intersection of these three things, three ideas, your passion, your giftings, natural abilities, and then product and service, that will tell you exactly. Again, this is part of what we're going to do in the financial fitness sprint that's happening on the 7th to 11th of May. We have a process for you to be able to directly identify this and even identify your own strengths. And then we also talked about different kinds of money, because there are different kinds of money. There's one we call funny money. And the funny money is not really as it sounds. The funny money is the kind of money that is so unimaginable when someone tells you that you're going to make that kind of money, and then you'll laugh. It came from Isaac. It's also called Isaac money, because a 90-year-old woman was told that she was going to have a baby. She laughed, and then because she laughed, that baby was called Isaac. So in the same way, you are in such a bad financial situation that if somebody comes and tells you right now, okay, that in another 180 days you are going to earn 500,000 pounds, the first thing you do is laugh. That's why it's called funny money. And so we break that down. How do you stage funny money? I have gotten lots of funny money myself. One of them was enough to buy us a house. It was funny money. That was money that if you told me that I could earn that from a client, I didn't believe it, but it happened. So we talk about all those things. There's also knowledge money. Knowledge money is, how you can turn your knowledge and experiences, into money. We go to TikTok to see young Nigerians making millions, teaching people how to make soap. I have one that I hired to coach me right now. All she's teaching is data entry. Just data, what does she call it? Data, Excel, Microsoft, something very boring. And she showed me what she made in her last campaign. 50 million naira. Just teaching people what she knows. I think she worked with KPMG. And then she's teaching people data entry. Some of you will know her if you're on Facebook, And so I hired her. I said, okay, how much is your session? So we're having a couple of sessions with her, and we paid her. We gave her the check to teach us what she's. So it's knowledge money. Okay, how to write a business plan. All right, we won't be able to. So I want you to go online, download what we call business model canvas, BMC. Okay, just go online, type business model canvas, PDF. Download it. It will tell you step by step, how to write a business plan. And it's just in 9 simple steps with some questions that you can fill. All right. What are the things you should look out for before investing in an organization? Okay, I think we've covered that. So you look for the most important things, actually, the people behind it. The second thing is the vision. Where are they going? The third thing, you look at the structure, their governance. Do they have good governance? Do they have credible board? Yeah, because if they don't have strong governance, the CEO or CFO can wake up one morning and then draw all the money in the account and then run away, and then the business collapses and nothing happens. So governance. then you also look at the industry. All right, you look at the industry. Is it an industry that is like anything connected to chips? Anything connected to chips. Recently, I think the American government gave Intel some billions of dollars, to establish a microchips factory, in the United States. So I would invest in a company like that, an Intel. So you look out for those things, look out for their business, look at their financial statements as well. All right, so you need to be able to understand financial statements. How can I invest in gold and diamond and Sierra Leone? I sincerely don't know.
That should be the last one.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know that. All right. Okay. So if that's the most that we can take for now, so I hand it back to you, George. So once again, thank you all of you for having me, and
Please,
be looking.
it's okay. Please, George, there's one that will put under there. How do someone invest in a share in United Kingdom?
Okay. I think there's a question there. Now let's see if we can quickly take that last one. How do I invest in stock or shares in United Kingdom?
Okay, so I guess you guys there are in the best position to answer that. But basically, the process is the same anywhere.
Yes.
So you have your London Stock Exchange, and I believe that the London Stock Exchange is far more advanced than our own, because London Stock Exchange has been there. It's probably more than 200 years old. It's one of the oldest exchanges, and so I'm sure that by now there are apps that you can use to buy shares. So I see a couple of all those apps, being advertised, but I've not used any of them. So, but you guys over there, if anybody's already investing, I'm sure you're in a better position over there to tell others, how you access it. But the process is the same. You look at all the companies that are listed so first of all, there's an app which acts like a stockbroker or something. There might still be stockbrokers, I don't know.
Yes.
But then you have a list of all the companies that are listed in the stock exchange. So you do your research on those companies. There are apps that help you. Some of them you do some minor subscriptions. There's one on my phone, but I forget the name, that can give you analysis about those things. But you typically have to do your own work. The other thing you might want to actually start with is to invest in index funds. The index funds, for instance, take a couple of best performing stocks in London Stock Exchange, and they index it. So you are buying the index fund, but you might be buying 30 companies, 30 best performing companies or something in the exchange. So in that way, you can actually start. It's just like you have the S&P 500 in the United States, so you have the best performing 500 companies and you're buying their stocks, as one. That's an index fund. That's also a very good way for a beginner to start. But then I'm sure you guys can handle it, since you're over there. I don't invest in London Stock Exchange. Most of my investment is in Nigeria Stock Exchange for now.
Okay, thank you so much. We are really grateful for. In fact, it was actually worth it to see Mr. Ogbo come in here. I know it was not easy to actually share some of his time, which he has done with us. But I want to really appreciate him, and I think everybody in the house do really appreciate your time, sir. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you for what you do. There's no way I'll be able to. You didn't share your handles. Mr. Agbo, if you share your handles, let us know your handles, please.
Okay. So all my handles on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn is at Ogbo Awoke Ogbo. I just put it. I just put it on the chat. I am most active on LinkedIn, then followed by Facebook. But I'm most active on LinkedIn because that's where most of the people I serve are. I hardly do Twitter. Yeah, but I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So all of them are Ogbo at Ogbo Awoke Ogbo. Then to learn more about the challenge, you just go to ogboawokeogbo.com. Okay, it's also on the chat, and then there's a lot of things to learn over there as well. And then the link to subscribe to the YouTube is already there, I hope. So if you just click, it will take you to my channel on YouTube. There's a whole lot of videos there, so I encourage you to subscribe, please. And then we'll be having a lot more conversations going on to help you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Still, like we always share, for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, just type George Owen. You'll see there the Renew Mind. I think you'll be able to get a lot of videos. We have reviewed, like I mentioned to you, a lot of books there on finance that will really, really help you in your financial journey. Also, we were to bring you where to find money. Don't worry, it's coming up in the next presentation, which is on the 6th of April. We still have coordinators I'm quite sure the Port Harcourt coordinator is still here. The same for Ekiti, Abuja, Canada. We want to thank all of you that joined in the different centers. Just to let you know that some centers have close to about 10-12 people or persons gathered, some even 15. I think in one of the WhatsApp group I could see 54 persons in the one WhatsApp group for a particular, I think that was Abuja, if I'm not mistaken. So we're doing it and just seeing how we can help to impart people when it comes to knowledge. But it's actually specifically on finance, on money, on how to do, like Ogbo just taught us, 3 fitness, which I think was case the spiritual, then also your financial fitness, and then the physical fitness, which have to actually do more with your head. Thank you everybody for participating today. We hope to see you on the 6th. The advert will be there. Invite your friend, invite families, invite everybody that are close to you. I think when you are actually worthy, it has to also reflect in the people that surrounds you. Thank you so much everybody for taking out your time to listen to today's presentation. Most especially to Ogbo, we want to thank you so much for taking out your time to join us. Until we meet again, I want to say my bye. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you. I'll see you on the 6th of April. I want to say my thank you to Joy. Joy, thank you all the way in Canada, putting all the people in Canada together. Joy, Ice Canada, thank you so much.
Cold.
It's cold. Hope all your people were in the platform. Felicia, thank you. Stacy, thank you. Rookie, thank you. Sandra, thank you so much. Let me see more people that are there. Let me say Victoria Sodi, thank you so much. Pastor Zion, oh, my apostle is right here. My father in the Lord is in the house. Apostle Sunday Iyi, thank you so much, Daddy, for being there. Pastor Zion, thank you. I can see you. Olawure. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Thank you so much for joining. Femi Olaolu, thank you so much. for joining. Jermaine, thank you so much. Informa, thank you. Infine Okole, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Who is there again? Felicia, thank you so much. Enoch, thank you so much. The coordinator for London, if you just tell us what is the plan. Oh, sorry, we're bringing Where to Find Money on the 6th. Don't worry, we're not going to miss that. On the 6th.
Thank you, Minister George.
On the 6th, thank you, man. Thank you. On the 6th, we are bringing Where to Find Money, where the money is hiding. We want to show it to you. So don't miss on the 6th. Thank you so much. The coordinator for London, are you there? Are you able to say your thank you? I'm not too sure if the coordinator for London is there. The coordinator for Abuja, are you there? Coordinator for Abuja.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for. Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm here. If you can hear me. Hello.
Yeah, your line is a little bit breaking off. I'm not too sure if we can hear you clearly, but what she's saying, she's just saying your thank. She's saying thank you for all of you, to all of you that joined today. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for leaving whatever you are doing before this time came up, and for joining. We are sure we have been able to gain.
Yeah, I think our line is breaking off there. Thank you so much, Felicia. Thank you for joining. Rookie, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. That's my professor Omatobe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so
He was the one that called me.
Huh?
Pastor Ife is there. You've not called his name.
Where is he?
He's one of the Stasi.
Oh, Pastor Efe, thank you so much for joining. Yes, Stacy Osaze, I think he has always used that to log in, and maybe that's why I'm not able to get in. Vivian, thank you so much. Pastor Efe, thank you so much for joining. I think Pastor Stacy is also there. Thank you so much for joining. Who has Samuel Wilson? Thank you so much for joining. Pastor Zion, thank you. J.A., thank you. Pastor Zion's wife is also there. Thank you so much. Pastor Hope, thank you. Giganti Praise, thank you. Francesca, thank you so much. Who is there again? I'm just trying to look. Esther, Cynthia Bright, Christo. Yeah, that's my very good friend. Thank you, Chris, for being a part of it. I'll see you on the 6th. God bless you. Thank you.